Escondido, California, 1991. My daughter was about 4 years old, and she and I were walking down the street when we saw this little boy about her age, and he was by himself. I looked around trying to find an adult, and no one was with him. He looked like a Mexican boy, but he had white hair, I imagine due to a recessive gene. So I asked him what his name was, and he said Omar. And I asked him where he lived, and he pointed to a yellow house down the street. So we started walking in that direction. I thought about taking him to my house to call the cops because we didn't have cell phones back then, but I didn't want someone to come looking for him and not be able to find him if I took him off the street. So as we were walking, a white truck pulled up. A Mexican man opened the door. He had long, shaggy hair hanging in his eyes. He looked kind of greasy and disheveled. He yelled bloody murder in Spanish at that kid and just yelled and yelled and yelled. And the little boy just kept nodding his head. And I could tell the guy was telling him to get into the truck. And of course, this kid with the white hair looked nothing like him. So I'm kind of wondering if I should let him. And I said, "Is that your dad?" And he nodded. So I said, "Okay, go with him." And he got in the truck, and they did go into the driveway of the yellow house. Now, this was an area where behind us was a Lutheran church. They had a school at the church, and across the street and next door to that yellow house was Felicita Elementary School, where my daughter was going to go to school. So, a few weeks later, I'm noticing that there are the most sinister, frightening people going in and out of that house. Lowrider cars, a small steering wheel made out of chain, and eventually I saw yellow crime tape across the driveway when I was walking my daughter to school. A few days later, the North County Times had a story about this family. Apparently, the father was dealing drugs, and a deal went bad, and a guy shot the father to death, the mother to death, who died with her baby in her arms in the garage, and there were three other kids, about 5, 7, and 9. Only one of them made it out. Well, Omar would have been 5. So I suppose, being the little one, he was the one that didn't make it out. And I grieve for that little boy. What a shame. He seemed like a very sweet little boy. When school started, I was waiting out front of the kindergarten class for my daughter to come out. And who comes running out but Omar? He's carrying a picture he drew with crayon, and he's yelling, "Tia, Tia." That is aunt in Spanish. I assumed he had gone to live with his aunt, and he was the one that had survived. When people tell you that these immigrants are such a boon to our country, that we just wouldn't be the same without them, remember this: they bring third world standards to a first world country. I support Trump, and I support ICE. Thank you for listening.